no capping in my logic, this that real talk vibe. From the south where the grind don't die, we survive. Mind sharp, money right, truth be the topic. Welcome to the game, this unfiltered logic. Ain't no sugarcoating here, just truth in the topic. Speak facts, not feelings, that's unfiltered logic. Pain made the hustle made profit.
Welcome to Unfiltered Logic. It's your host, Jay New, and today we're going to be talking about the FBI is cracking down on the NBA. That's right, the FBI is investigating 3 former/current players of the NBA based on gambling and sports ringing allegations. Let's get into it.
That's now rocking the NBA community. I want to put this up on your screen, a tweet that we have there from Fox News showing what we now know at this time. But this was breaking news earlier today that Kash Patel, the FBI director, named multiple high-profile NBA arrests in an alleged illegal gambling ring that spanned several years. Now, we do know that more than 30 people have been arrested in this case, including current and former NBA stars suspected members of the American branch of the Sicilian Mafia, La Cosa Nostra. So, of course, we know that this has everything in a story and in a scandal that we want to continue to dive into. But right now, what we know is that Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and former NBA player Damon Jones have all been arrested as a part of this investigation.
Wait. Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones are tied to the Mafia? The Mafia. This is some dangerous stuff right here, man. You don't really want to play around when it comes to the Mafia.
Which involves extensive illegal gambling rings, all according to the FBI. So to talk a lot more about this, I want to bring in Dan Roberts. He's the editor-in-chief at Front Office Sports. Dan, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Crazy day in the sports world, particularly the NBA. I have to ask you, when this story first broke, what was your initial reaction? And what stood out to you most from the FBI press conference?
Yeah, Christina, thanks for having me on. You know, we've done some reporting about Rozier's sort of involvement in a possible probe that had been out there in the mix. And of course, months ago, Malik Beasley had been out there in the mix as being part of a probe by the NBA, but supposedly had been cleared and he was not named in any of this. The biggest shock when you asked me sort of the course of the day and how this news unfolded was first the Rozier news came out and then Chauncey Billups, the news came out that he had been arrested. I mean, crazy to think Chauncey Billups coached just yesterday, right? He's the head coach.
An active coach in the NBA is affiliated with the Mafia, being tied to the Mafia in gambling. If this isn't a bad reputation for the NBA, I don't know what else is.
Rozier is on the Heat but did not play in their game yesterday. And both of them are involved in what looked at first like separate cases, but there are links between them, right? So, as you mentioned, a big gambling ring here, and Kash Patel kind of did quite a song and dance at this big press conference today. We had a reporter out there. They laid out all the facts, and the officials who spoke from the DOJ and FBI made a lot of kind of puns and gambling jokes as part of the circus here. But it is an investigation that the FBI took nearly 2 years to complete. Rozier's part in this is what you would colloquially call point shaving. And Kash Patel likened it to insider trading. And the allegations are leaking inside information on teams that were tanking and also, in Rozier's case, leaving games early or even faking injuries, all for the sake of prop bets made by bettors who are benefiting from this. Separately, what Chauncey Billups is...
So, Terry Rozier, I don't know if you guys remember that footage about a year or two ago where he came down the court and he threw the ball away, gave it to the other team. It looked like he could have easily made the right pass, but he threw it away straight to the other team. And then came back down the court and just lost the ball for no reason. I mean, I feel like he made it look very obvious in his gameplay. And so, I mean, maybe he didn't do it. Who knows? But allegedly he did. And if he did, it seems pretty obvious that he did do it in those games that we all seen. Everybody's kind of already known about this from Terry Rozier. We've all kind of confirmed it looking at the games that he played. So let's see what Chauncey Billups did.
Is this illegal poker game, this poker ring, in which Billups and others were referred to as face cards. They were the bait that lured high-stakes bettors to come play a rigged game. And you mentioned, of course, Damon Jones. He was involved in both, reportedly.
The face card. for high stakes bettors to come play a mafia rigged gambling game. Really, Chauncey Billups? You're a Hall of Famer, bro. A Hall of Famer. There's so many other ways you can make money, so many other endorsements you could do. But instead, you go with the fast life. The fast life is calling your name that bad.
He's kind of a bridge here. But both of these are a major black eye for the day 3 rollout of the NBA's new season.
Day 3 of the
I
NBA.
keep mentioning that to people. We're literally on day 3 of the new NBA season. The timing could not be worse for a league that was already dealing with a separate scandal, a scandal that will probably be somewhat buried now, and that is the Clippers Kawhi Leonard ongoing aspiration endorsement deal and everything that has come out about that. But they have already said, the league, that Rozier and Billups are immediately on leave from their teams. So now the Blazers have who was an assistant coach, a former player who's now the interim head coach. And you have to wonder what happens next, not just in terms of NBA's comments on all this, but if you look at the Blazers, I mean, they're going to be looking for a new head coach, and the team just announced that it's selling to Tom Dundon. So a team that is for sale and is now at the heart of a major scandal. A lot to process.
And now you got the Blazers in a bad position. Your employer in a bad position when they're trying to sell their team. They brought you in as an investment, and now you're making them look bad, and it's going to make it harder on them to sell that team. Maybe even the value of the team will go down with the scandal going on.
Really is a lot to process, all the different ins and outs. And so I want to put this up on the screen for folks at home as well. We do have the statement from Rozier's lawyer saying that we have represented Terry Rozier for over a year now. A long time ago, we reached out to these prosecutors to tell them that we should have an open line of communication. They characterized Terry as a subject, not a target. But at 6 a.m. this morning, they called to tell me that FBI agents were trying to arrest him in a hotel. It is unfortunate that instead of allowing him to self-surrender, they opted for a photo op. They wanted the misplaced glory of embarrassing a professional athlete with a pump walk. That tells you a lot more about the motivations in this case. They appear to be taking the word spectacularly incredible sources rather than relying on actual evidence of wrongdoing. Terry was cleared by the NBA, and these prosecutors revived that case. Terry is not a gambler, but he is not afraid of a fight, and he looks.
See, and here's the thing about when you get an investigation and you know that you did it and they just drop it. Be very cautious of that. Because, like I said, man, it looked very clear that you were definitely point shaving, definitely coming out the game early and having people bet on your games for the under and just going out there and selling. And so, man, when the NBA dropped that investigation, if I was you, man, I would have just been like, nah, man, just take me in, do whatever you got to do, kick me out the NBA, give me my fine, whatever you got to do. Because as soon as they drop it, that's what the FBI wants. That's what they're waiting on, man. Like, that's how the FBI plays. They wait for an investigation to come up, and they say, hey, you know what? Let me get that evidence. Let me see all that. Oh, yeah, this helps our case. Hey, go ahead and drop all the allegations, drop the charges for me. Yeah. Nah. We gonna pick this one up. Man, if I was you, Terry, I would have just had them. Hey, look, just kick me out the NBA, man. I was guilty. Look, if it was me, but hey, I guess if you want to fight this and you want to see how it goes, I hope that you're innocent. I really do. You're a good basketball player. You're actually a very good basketball player. I used to love watching you play on the Celtics, and you did way better than I thought you would do coming in. And I used to tell people all the time that you were underrated. So I think that you're a great basketball player. I think that you're better than this. I hope that this is not actually what's going on, and you do prove your innocence. But as of right now, man, it's not looking good for you.
To winning this fight. So that's the official statement there from the lawyers of Terry Rozier. We want to make sure that we're characterizing all sides here, but Dan, I have to ask you, I think the thing that popped out to most people and what we saw earlier today is that he was arrested while at a team hotel. I mean, the impacts of that, like the headline from that alone is major.
Yeah, and that's quite a statement. I mean, it starts with no indictment and it ends with, fight his innocence. Now, let's mention here, and I think this is a fascinating part of this, when we talk about the legalization of sports betting and the NBA and the other U.S. pro leagues, the actual bets that were placed in this case were legal bets in the states in which they were placed. In other words, there's nothing stopping someone from placing a bet in a state where sports betting has been legalized. The issue, of course, is when it's insider trading, and obviously federal law trumps any kind of state law, but also with states where it's not legal, or in the case of the NBA, you certainly can't be an NBA player or an NBA coach and bet on basketball games. So an issue for the NBA as well.
Definitely not.
But that's an interesting distinction, right? That the ultimate bets, which allegedly were based on having inside information, were placed legally through legal sports books. So as you look at how the league has grown and adapted to the
And that's what's even worse. This gives less credibility to apps like FanDuel, Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy. If you guys are going out getting the information that you have from that player and using it on a legal source to gamble, you're giving them a bad reputation. And it's going to make it hard for all these betting apps to overcome this. They're going to lose a lot of money. A lot of customers are going to have less faith and trust in this system with you guys doing this.
changes. I mean, gosh, we had NBA Commissioner Adam Silver at our live event just 1 month ago, and I asked him about betting, and he talked specifically about the danger of prop bets. And he is not the only one. And the NCAA President Charlie Baker has tried to restrict and ban prop bets on college sports and college athletes. Meanwhile, just yesterday came the news that the NCAA and member schools are going to allow college athletes to bet on pro sports. So, of course, this NBA arrest ring has nothing to do with college, and yet
And like you said, this has nothing to do with college. So don't let this affect the college students. I mean, and at the same time, it's such a vast field that there's so many college players. There's no point in taking this out on them. But these NBA players, they do need to be held accountable. These NBA coaches need to be held accountable. Rigging these games, shaving points, going in and giving out inside information. Every time you give out inside information, you change the odds on betting. That means that you're affecting the fans' money. That means the fans that adore you guys, appreciate you, and idolize you guys are doing them completely wrong. It's just terrible that you're coming out and doing your own fans wrong like this, messing up their odds. These people are putting out maybe even their rent money, man. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but some of these guys, they go out and put their rent money on y'all. You guys are just going in here and shading points. Come on, man.
is remarkable timing, right? So my point is, all of the major pro leagues right now are dealing with the legalized sports betting landscape, and certainly, if anyone thought that legalization would keep these scandals away, that is not the case at all, and it seems to have a higher rate of incidence in the NBA because I think of those prop bets.
That's a great way of putting it and breaking it down for folks at home. And Dan, we're still taking this live look there in New York City. We know that the press conference earlier today happened in Brooklyn. You pointed on a few things I want to break down for just a second for folks at home. But initially, let's talk about the NBA's history with sports betting and some of the issues. I mean, the most profound player of all time. People say he's the GOAT. Of course, Michael Jordan was even wrapped up in some of these conversations more than 20 years ago. It's been a long history of these things happening. You're talking about the new changes that are also happening at the NCAA and as it pertains to
NBA and gambling have always been hand in hand. You always hear different allegations about different players. But now that you have where you can actually exclusively bet on specific players and props for specific players, that's now we're drawing the line. You can't be a part of the odds and go out and bet on the odds. Come on, man. That's just you guys know better. You know the rules. You know that they tell you exactly what you can and cannot do. You guys went out there and did it anyway. This is a terrible thing that you're doing to your own fans, and you're just destroying the integrity of the NBA.
those college sports. Let's just dive into that for a second. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, all these guys gamble, right? I mean, they all gamble, but what you can't do is gamble on your own sport, and certainly not on your own team within that. Now, you mentioned Adam Silver. What's interesting about him is he was really the original commissioner of the Big Four U.S. pro men's leagues to be vocally, publicly in favor of legalized sports betting. He wrote a now famous or now infamous 2014 New York Times op-ed saying that, bring it from the darkness out into the light. He also advocated for leagues to receive an integrity fee, which he was kind of mocked for. But now I think he probably feels a little bit vindicated in the sense that the reason he argued for that was for leagues to be more closely involved with the sports books and to make sure that bets are done with integrity.
I think overall, Adam Silver already knew this was coming. He probably already was aware of the investigations, was probably cooperating with the FBI and, helping them out with this situation. So he probably already knew and was trying to get everything in order for whenever this does get started. But, nobody wanted to listen to him. Nobody wanted to take the signs.
Who knows if that kind of thing would have prevented what you have now? But again, at our live event, our FOS Tuned In Summit a month ago, he was basically saying that what we've ended up with is a very messy state by state landscape. And I want to make sure viewers understand this. The federal ban on sports betting was struck down in 2018. That doesn't mean it's legal everywhere, hooray. It means that it's state by state. So many states, I think more than half, have legalized. Some big states have not. California, Texas. And so Silver's kind of gripe is that we have to deal with this messy state by state landscape. Now, the rules are clear that you can't bet on.
You can still bet in Texas and probably even California using certain apps like Prize Picks and stuff. But like they said, the rules are still kind of wonky. They're still trying to figure everything out. And this is not good for when you're trying to figure stuff out. I mean, they're going to make an example of you because they want to make sure that nobody else ever tries to do this situation again. So this is not a good situation to be in for you guys.
Sports. So that's not really a gray area any of these guys can cite. But you are going to continue to have issues. And by the way, Major League Baseball has had issues too. There was the issue with Otani's interpreter, and there are two pitchers this season who were suspended and still aren't back because of MLB betting probes. But the NBA seems to be more prone to these issues. Again, I think because of the size of the teams, you've only got 5 guys on the court from each team. So one player can have a major impact on the game. One player can leave early and fake an injury and have an impact and know ahead of time that he's going to do that and leak it to someone. That's where we get that insider trading. And it's also the rate of prop bets that people place on basketball. But I guess my point is they could ban the prop bets, which is what Silver wants. And so you wouldn't be able to do it through a legal sports book. But that's not going to stop people making prop bets. And it's not going to stop people gambling via bookies, right?
It's certainly.
And they're definitely right. People are still going to do it. People already have become addicted to this way of betting. People love doing prop bets. It took the world by storm. I've seen everybody, even people who don't know about sports, start watching sports just to do prize picks or, underdog fantasy. I've seen girls even trying to, hey, what's your picks? Hey, I'm trying to understand how to bet on this game. And they don't know anything about the basketball players. The only name they know is LeBron James, and they want to go out and bet on everybody every game. So this is not something that is going to go away easily. I think that they just need to clean this up instead of send it away and get rid of it. I think it's best if you just clean it up, make sure that everybody's held accountable, and that we're moving accordingly in the future.
And so I want to put this up on the screen as well from the NBA, their PR account on X, saying that we are in the process of reviewing the federal indictments announced today. I want to also talk about some of the other major players and names that have been brought up. LeBron James, his name has been floated out there as being linked to this, not in a way that most people think. Can you sort of explain that connection?
Yeah, let's just be very clear. LeBron not linked to any of the wrongdoing in this. But in the indictment, and the indictments here, we've published both on Front Office Sports on our website. They're fascinating, especially the one about the poker ring, which is the Billups side of this, the details and the tech that was used to make a rigged game. I encourage anyone who's interested enough to go read the indictments. But one of the indictments, it does not name LeBron by name, but it's very clear from context who it is. We're talking.
So it doesn't name LeBron, but they're proclaiming it's LeBron.
Damon Jones. And it says that a player that Damon Jones was sharing inside information about was a star NBA player on the Lakers from 2022 to 2023 when Damon Jones was working as an unofficial assistant coach for the team. That is obviously LeBron.
Honestly, it could be Anthony Davis. Let's be real. Anthony Davis has a million injuries. I mean, we watch him sit on the bench more than we watch him play since he's been on the Lakers. So, I mean, saying that it was going to be LeBron off jump is kind of a stretch. I understand LeBron's a big name, and for some reason, everybody always wants to tear him down, but LeBron doesn't have to be connected to everything, guys. I mean, it's a very high chance it could be Anthony Davis, but maybe it's LeBron. I don't know.
Had no comment on any of this, but Damon Jones, according to these allegations, was leaking information about the Lakers, about the Blazers, about the Magic, about these teams tanking. Meanwhile, you could make the joke, does anyone need to leak information that a certain team is tanking? I think it's very clear when a team is tanking. But then, of course, most of all in Rozier's case, information about what he himself can control and what he was going to do in a game. But that is a huge landmark name to see tied up in all of this. And Damon Jones is also kind of in the LeBron extended circle of friends and acquaintances. So you just have to wonder if
they're really trying to push this LeBron narrative. I think that's disappointing because LeBron's actually a great guy. I feel like every 5 minutes they want to come after LeBron when the Diddy situation happened. Oh, LeBron said ain't no party like a Diddy party. That means he was a part of it. Be expecting LeBron to go down. Now this happens. Oh, LeBron, Damon Jones was in the same facility as LeBron in the same time, so it must be LeBron. Give LeBron a break, man. Let there be some hard evidence on LeBron, or let that man go in peace. Let that man go in peace.
more known names are going to come out here because there are other unnamed NBA players mentioned in these, allegations.
And Dan, honestly, there's so many links, and the web is going to continue to grow as more information comes out. Before I let you go, though, I want to lastly ask you: have you heard any other prominent players or any other people who are tied to the NBA speaking out in the aftermath of this that's worth bringing to our audience to let them know what some of the response has been like in and around the league?
There's nothing I could share on this show or that I've heard. There is interesting chatter on Twitter. First of all, people have unearthed a segment from months ago about Billups doing these rigged poker games. So you sort of wonder, was it already out there and people just didn't notice it, or is that what kind of tipped off the investigation? Also, Paul Pierce is now being named all over Twitter as another person who is involved in rigged poker games. So we'll see what happens there.
So now it's Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups. We had Gilbert Arenas a while back, Malik Beasley. All these different guys are all getting associated with mafia family gambling. This is insane, man. But now what I will say is it's very disappointing that we don't see any of the faces of the mafia families.
Ain't no capping in my logic, this that real tall vibe. From the south where the grind don't die, we survive. Mind sharp, money right. Truth be the topic. Welcome to the game. This unfiltered logic. Ain't no sugarcoating here, just truth in the topic. Speed fast, not feelings, that's unfiltered logic. Pain made the hustle made profit. I learned from the struggle, now I profit off logic.